Hello, good morning everyone. Very warm welcome to babycode free IELTS classes. I am Tanu Brahmani, an IDP certified trainer and a TEFL to Solve certified trainer. So as you know that I'm coming up with my speaking module and the sessions here. So today is our live session 4 and the topic of our live session is that how well you can perform at your best in the part 3 of speaking. Now part 3 of speaking is about discussion. Now, before watching this session number 4, I would advise you that you should go to the remaining 3 sessions, the before 3 sessions, which I have already delivered, which is about the introduction to IELTS speaking, part 1 of speaking, part 2, and today's part 3. So let's discuss in detail what is part 3 of IELTS speaking. Now, part 3 of IELTS speaking demands from you that you have to discuss and analyze your answer. You have to give your answer in a more detailed manner. This is the final part of your speaking test, which is called as discussion round. Now, in this part, you have the opportunity that you have to discuss about areas. That means examiner will be asking you some questions related to part 2, which will be in more depth. Now, this test not only focus your ability to express, but they also check that are you able to justify your opinion? Are you able to analyze, discuss, and speculate about some issues or not? So, examiner will help you do this by asking some questions. They'll be exploring the topic in more depth here, right? In part 2, we looked at 3 topic areas. The long term is always related to part 3 topic area, right? For example, if your cue card is about your teacher, then part 3 would be a general discussion about teaching, about education. So remember that your part 3 will be based on your cue card topic. IELTS speaking part 3 is also called as counter questions, or you can say follow up questions, or you can say discussion questions, right? On part 2, examiner will ask you broader range of questions. This round, this last section of speaking test will be for 4 to 5 minutes. Test taker has to elaborate and go in depth on the topic, and then they have to answer the question. Remember one thing, that you have to speak fluently, not memorize the content according to the topic, right? You cannot speak up the memorized answer. So remember that you have to show your fluency to the examiner. You have to work on your speaking skills according to the 4 criteria. Now let's look at the possible part 3 discussion areas related to the long terms we practice in part 2 article, right? What we did in last time was something you own that is important to you. Cue card topic, we discussed about piano, right? Now possible part 3 topics for that cue card can be belongings, it can be shopping, it can be advertisement, and it can be the values. So you may get one of these or 2 of these topics in your follow-up round. Now, suppose your cue card topic can be a holiday that you really enjoy. So your cue card is about holiday. You may get topics like tourism, holiday, destination, leisure time, travel. If your cue card topic is about an item you would like to buy, so again, your cue card, your part 3 questions could be shopping, advertising, online shopping, consumerism, manufacturing, and clothing. So always remember that your part 3 topics will be based on your cue card topic. We'll discuss in more detailed manner some of the strategies, some of the tips which you can apply in your part 3. First is speak about the topics in general way. Now in part 3, as you know that you will be provided with some topics in a general manner. If you try and talk about yourself and your family, examiner will steal away from you, right? They will be steering you away from these familiar topic and they want you to speak in a general way. Part 3 doesn't demand from you your personal answer. You need not to give your personal answer here about your family or about you. Part 1 is about you. Part 2, you can share your personal experience. But in part 3, you have to talk about general here. That means you can talk about the people of your country, you can talk about your related to country, but not about your personal opinion here. No personal answer here, right? Remember that you have already talked about your familiar topics in part 1 and part 2. Now, part 3 is more about general topics. Give your opinion, your ideas, discuss about it. Rather than talking about yourself, you can use some phrases so that you can extend your discussion in part 3. Now, see, there are some phrases I have listed here. You can see. First is, in my country, most people believe that. So, you are talking in respect of your country. You are not talking that what you believe, right? In my country, most people believe that. So you are giving a point of view in respect of your people of your country, not your own personal point. If I compare my country to Australia, the way we is quite different. So you are again giving an answer in a general way, not a personal answer. Local communities in my country. Thinking about this in general, the main reason why most people, from my perspective, if I take my country as an example, I have seen this in my city and it's a major issue. To deal with this problem, we should dash. There are lots of examples of this in my country. So you can practice with these following phrases so that you can use it in your follow-up round. Next is that you have to use linking words and phrases. First step was that you have to speak in a general way, a general manner. Second is that you have to use linking words and phrases. Now, what is linking words? As I told you, you have to use some words and phrases to connect ideas and express how we feel about what we are saying. So you have to organize and manage what we are saying so that examiner will be able to understand. And what you're saying next using fillers also, so that you can correctly sound natural in your speech delivery, right? Try to avoid meaningless fillers like right, as they show that you cannot find words or your language needed to discuss the topic. So avoid repetitive uses of these fillers, right? Just try to avoid and generally use like yeah, like, So try to avoid these phrases, these fillers. Instead of that, you can focus on the linking words and phrases, which can be very beneficial in your speaking part. So if you want to sequence your order, right, you are talking about the information here, how you can go step by step. Start using phrases like to begin with, moving on to the next reason, secondly, thirdly, subsequently, on the top of that. Adding information. Another thing that comes to mind, and also, beside, additionally, another good example of this. When you want to show your opinion, you're indicating opinion or your attitude, then you can say, unfortunately, however, actually, to be honest, definitely, basically, clearly. Comparing and contrast. When you want to make a compare and contrast between your statements, similarly, in the same way, equally, likewise. If I compare it to my country, however, although, instead of despite, on one hand, on another hand, in an opposite way, in contrast. So remember, these are the words which will be very helpful in your linking of ideas from one statement to another. So start working on these phrases so that you can apply in your speech. Next is be willing to extend your answer. First was that you have to speak in a general way. Second is that you have to extend your answer. Now in part 3, when examiner wants you to speak in more depth, it is important that you should attempt to extend your responses as much as you can. So you can use some functions here. How? Express your opinion. Agree or disagree with something, looking at the advantages and disadvantages of something. That means when they give you a topic, you have to discuss about it. You can give reason for your opinion also. You can give examples to support your opinion also. You can describe the situation in your country and then you can speak. You can think about the future and then you can extend your answer. You can assess the importance of something and then you can extend your answer. Asking the examiner for clarification to explain something. If you're not able to understand something, what is asked by the examiner, you can ask him to clarify that, can you please clarify it? He will help you out with some of the suggestions or a one line statement which will be easier for you now to speak about it. Suggesting solutions, comparing and contrasting. So these are the ways in which you can extend your answer. Don't limit your answer, but express your answer. Give an agreement or a disagreement with your answer. Talk about the advantages or disadvantages of the question. Give reasons for your opinion. Give examples also. Describe situation in your country if you face that. But yes, you have to extend your answer. Now, it is very important that you show examiner that you are willing to discuss the topic, right? If you do not allow him that you are discussing the topic, they will not be able to judge you. Or I would say that you won't be getting the good bands or the higher bands, right? So it's better that you should discuss more in a general nature, right? Next is use a wider range of grammar. Now you have to showcase your grammatical skills here. If you can if you can speak about a topic at a length, this shows that yes, you have a wider range of vocabulary. And the grammar structure also need to express. Now, some of the functions which are listed here is appropriate grammatical structures. You can see, for example, if you want to talk about describing a situation in your country, right? You can use present tense, perfect, and past also, because you're going to make a comparison between past also and present also, right? So, what grammatical structure you can use is present, perfect, and past. Second is if you want to think about the future. Now you want to talk about something related to the future part. What you can use is conditionals like if, because you are going to talk about future. Or you can use future model verbs will, going to, or you can write or you can speak about may, might, should, could, because they talks about the future. Suggesting solutions, again, you can use some of the model verbs, conditionals. Comparing and contrasting, also, you can focus on the comparative structures. So, these are the wider range of grammar which you need to focus, and then you can apply the same so that you can showcase your grammatical range and accuracy, which is one of the most important parameter of your speaking module. Now let's look at one of the following script, which is taken from the official IELTS speaking test. There was a candidate named as Anuradha who came from Malaysia and she was answering the questions on the topic famous people. Now we will look at some of the range of tenses she used and how she has used the wider range of vocabulary. Now the examiner asked her, let's consider first of all, famous people in your country. In Malaysia, what kind of people famous for? Now, Anuradha said, in Malaysia, definitely the politicians and also some actors and actresses are very famous among Malaysians. Now, see how she replied. She gave an example of politicians, actors, as well as actresses. Second question, so what about in the past? Is that the same as in the past where politicians and actors always? Now, what she replied, I think definitely in the past, if you're talking about the 50s and the 60s, movies were the number one communication tool between villages or towns. So the people definitely knew actors and actresses better than the politicians compared to now. So, how she is using the vocabulary? You have TV and news where people follow politicians' personal life more than an actor or an actress. So a well developed response where she talked about politicians also, actors also, she talked about past also, and she talked about the present also. So comparing about present and past also and detailing all the information here. Now she has used a wider range of vocabulary. Now your topic was about famous people, so you should start thinking about what can the words, what can vocabulary I can use here. So for famous people, you can start thinking what are the types of famous people, how they become famous, what are the features, what are the features, what are the advantages, what are the disadvantages. So when you have this kind of wide range of vocabulary, you can apply that vocabulary in your part 3. Now how she has applied the wider range of vocabulary. Now you're having wider range of vocabulary. For example, see Anuradha also, she uses a wider range of vocabulary that has idiomatic meaning. Number one, to follow someone. Correct collocation she has used, communication tool, politician's personal life. So that means she is expressing herself more clearly. So you can see this mind map, which I have already showed you, this for famous people. You can use this kind of mind map. You can showcase your vocabulary and famous and phrases also related to the famous people. They are not very difficult to make. It is just how you can prepare your ideas and how you can come up with your vocabulary. Mind map is the only way, or I would say that mind map works in a way your mind should work. Link your ideas and language to the topic so that you can naturally extend your answer, right? So, for example, when Anuradha is asked about how celebrities can negatively affect young people, she uses the following ideas and vocabulary and then she gave a precise answer. Now, see, examiner asked her, now you're talking about their influence on consumer. What about the young? Do celebrities, do you think, produce negative effects in youth? Definitely, I think they do. As you can see, like lifestyle and health, celebrities are becoming thinner, model, and celebrities. And when you open a magazine, young girls would be exposed to thin models and they think that that's the normal for them to be thin. And that could cause them to go into anorexia and bulimia and unhealthy practices because they think being thin is the norm. Whereas being healthy, being normal bodied is actually the norm. So, how she is talking about the negative effects, what kind of vocabulary, the wider range of vocabulary she is focusing on. Look at the grammatical structure also. So, you also have to focus on the range of topics the examiner is going to ask you and your mind mapping of ideas as well. That how well you can connect your ideas and add a vocabulary and grammatical errors to your speech. Now, one thing is that practice makes man perfect. So, if you are going to apply all those skills in your speaking, only then you will be having a more confidence in, I would say, the complete IELTS speaking test. Now, what you can do is, if you are ready to practice, try it on our babycode application. The practice tests are available for both the test taker. Test is not a face-to-face test, but yes, it is realistic in terms of test questions, the timing and delivery as well. The examiner questions are already pre-recorded. Time responses are also there. You can check, and the markers are also according to the official markers. So you can practice, become more influent, and achieve your goal. Before moving forward, I would like to talk about some of the tips for speaking part 3. Now, what kind of answers you can give here? Very first is don't give personal answer. As I have mentioned before also, you are not required to answer your personal response in part 3. Now, for suppose you have a question, do you think dieting is important? If a person says, yes, I am dieting to reduce weight and maintain a healthy lifestyle, I think everybody should get on a diet. This is an incorrect answer. Yes, I think it is. If people are above their normal, you are not supposed to write your own life here. This is not your familiar question about yourself. This is general. So they are asking you in a general way that do you think dieting is important? Yes, I think it is. If people are above their normal weight and are unhealthy, they should go on a diet in order to have a healthy lifestyle. Correct? So do not give personal answer. Give opinionated answer. Now, how you have to give an opinionated answer? Question comes, why do you think people enjoy eating out? Now, your answer should be, I think people prefer a change of place sometimes. They might not be interested in eating inside in four walls of their house like they usually do. Another reason could be that they love to try different cuisines from different restaurants. Maybe they reach out to the restaurant for dishes whose preparations they are unaware. Eating out with friends and family has also become a major pastime. So, why do you think people enjoy eating out? The person has candidate has given four reasons here, right? So there are four reasons. There are four opinions which are listed here. So you can give your opinionated answer. Next one, give examples along with your opinion. If you're giving answer, then give your example also. Question comes, do you think parents should help their children with their homework or should it be done by the children on their own? Now, first you have to suggest your opinion and then you can come up with your example. I think it should be done by the children on their own, but they can reach out to their parents for doubts. I think this will help them to understand their homework as they will read more and research more to find out the answer rather than it being given to them in a platter. So he's coming up with his opinion. Now comes the example. On days that my brother did his homework on his own, he understood better and read more with the topic that when my mom helped him with. So first give your answer, give your opinion and explanation, and then you can come up with an example. But never start your own personal answer here, right? Next is answering comparison question. If you are asked question that you need to compare the present and past, you should use some good vocabulary. Now the question comes, are the recreation techniques that are popular today the same as those that were popular when your parents were young? So your answer should be how you're going to answer. They are talking about recreation techniques that are popular today are the same that when your parents were young. No, they are not like how they used to be years ago. So you are going to make a comparison between present and past here, right? Years ago, when my parents were young, recreation was based on outdoor activities, then indoor. Today, now making a present situation, it is mainly cinema, social media, etc. But in the past, it was usually football, basketball, or even swimming. So, how you compare your question from present to the past showcase your vocabulary as well and your grammatical skills. So, what are the tips you can apply in your speaking part 3 is that do not give personal answer, give opinionated answer, give examples along with your opinion, and answer the comparison based questions, right? Now let's practice this some easy questions on the topic advertising and shopping, which can help you get band 8 plus for your IELTS speaking. Now advertising questions. Part 3 advertising question because हमारा like our part 2 Q card topic was about something you own which is important to you and we discussed about piano in our Q card session, right? We discussed in the live session third. So part 3 is based on that only. Question says, how do advertisements attract attention? Now you have to talk about that how do advertisements attract, how they attract attention of consumers or the buyers or the people. It all depends on what age group of people the advertisement is aimed for. Young people look if it's cool, hip, or fashionable, Look at the grammatical structure, look at the sentence formation. You cannot memorize the content, you cannot learn the ideas, but yes, you can have an idea how to frame your answer. Whereas older people, now advertisement, he's talking about all. He's talking about younger people. He's talking about older people tend to be more practically minded. So those in charge of advertising need to have clear idea of who they will be targeting with their advertisement and plan accordingly. So you have to discuss your answer in both perspective, because this is a general round. This is a discussion round. So how do advertisement attract attention? You can talk about people of your country. You can talk about younger people. You can talk about older people. You can talk about some kind of catchy music also. They helps attract attention, and they also help the listener to remember. If you try to reach to the older generation with your advertisement, then you can explain that how product will give them a better health, or how they are going to relax, or how they'll be happier to use it. So you have to talk about different perspective here, different opinion here. Second question, do young and older people have the same attitude towards advertisement? Now here comes is you have to talk about younger people perspective and the older people also, that what they think about advertisement. So yes, definitely not. Every individual has its own attitude towards advertisement, and the advantages and the disadvantages also. Younger people, both younger and older people, they are inclined to believe and think that advertisements sometimes they are misleading, they are dishonest, they are shallow, they are annoying also. They are also not well made as well. On the other hand, if done well, they can be creative, they can be humorous, artistic, enjoyable to watch. However, are the exceptions rather than the norm. So whatever you feel that young and older people have the same attitude towards advertisement, you can talk about it. If you feel that no, you have something different to talk about, you can talk about it. But thing is, you have to extend your answer. Do you think advertisements are a good or a bad influence on children? So now you have to talk about good or bad influence of advertisements on children. So looking at today's children, I would have to say advertisements have predominantly had a negative effect. Now, what are the negative effects? If you're talking about negative, what are the negative effects is that they have a negative influence on lives and characters, right? What children have, what they desire to own, like what kind of discontentment they create. Advertisement, they usually tend to be unrealistic also, and they provide a false impression on the children, that what they buy or what will happen if they buy the product. So you have to talk about good or a negative influence on children. Next question, do you think advertisements actually influence people to buy things, and how? So first question asks you, do you think advertisement actually influence? If you think yes, you have to explain it also. If you think no, then also you have to explain the answer. That means you have to expand your answer. When seen a lot, advertisement makes product more familiar and ingrained in people's mind. So when they want to buy something, they will take a brand that they recognize. In my country, people want to be like the West, and so they buy what they see on TV that the Western people have. They think that if they have this Western product, they will be cool as this person, right? Which is totally bizarre to my mind. So you can use your idiomatic language, you can use your wider range of vocabulary, expand your answer, analyze your answer, and talk in detail. Let's look at the topic shopping. Do all people enjoy shopping for clothes? So, if you are not sure of this answer, you can start your answer. I can't say for sure, since it is largely depends on personal demand and interest. Women seem to be more obsessed with fashion and shopping than the rest of the population, but there are exceptions, right? Those who love spending time and money on beautiful pieces of clothing, pay great attention to their appearance, and take pleasure in the act of shopping, while other considered is a waste of resources. So you are talking about all the people. Do all people enjoy shopping for clothes? You can talk about men, you can talk about women, you can talk about older people, you can talk about younger generation. You can talk about children also, that all people enjoy shopping for clothes or not. Now, example also, as you talked about your opinion, you give your explanation, you can always give your opinion with an example. For example, most men avoid shopping on clothes unless they need a new suit for some formal event or only when there are holes in their clothes. So take, so see here, an idiom is also used here, take pleasure in. So take pleasure in is an idiom which is with the meaning of which is derive happiness or enjoyment from. So you can also apply these kind of idioms to make your speaking more enhanced, and you can target 7 plus using your idiomatic language. Next is why women like to go for shopping. Now they are asking you a question about why women like to go shopping. So you have to talk about only women's here. You cannot talk about men or you cannot talk about anything else. Women are considered as embodiment of beauty, which may explain why they love shopping and enjoy the dressing to a considerable degree. Now, considerable degree means to some extent. So, a vocabulary, a wider range of vocabulary, the uncommon mode. First and foremost, the connector is here, linker is here. Outfits are the visual indicators of personality. Indicators means a sign that shows you something, how the situation is changing. Hence, they want to, hence. So, again, a connector, a linking, they want to dress accordingly. Secondly, one more linking, shopping is not only for the sake of fashion. So, for the sake of is a idiom, that means in order to get something, but also an effective means of relaxation. Again, grammatical range is perfectly fine and a wider range of vocabulary. In modern society, now comparing with modern society also, where lots of people are under constant stress. Stress means when you are dealing with some kind of worry. Every day, indulging, again a vocabulary, allow yourself to have something you like, something consider for you in some severe shopping may help take the weight off their mind. Take the weight off one's mind is actually an idiom, which means that they allow you to stop worrying about a particular thing, despite temporary. Last but not the least, so now he's concluding his talk. Women don't usually shop for themselves alone, but most of their spending is on their family and their friends, right? They relish the idea of giving gifts or buying something beautiful clothes for their loved ones. Their shopping sits high on their to-do list. So again, a vocabulary is added. So you can apply these vocabulary in your speaking part 3. Next question, why some women buy cheaper clothes and expensive ones at the same time? Again, you will be using some good amount of vocabulary here and the cohesive devices also and the discourse marker. Admittedly, the more higher price a piece of clothing. So higher price is like something which is at high price. Is the more exquisite. Exquisite means something which is extremely beautiful. However, again, a connector here contrasting, it doesn't mean low cost costumes. So low cost is, that means cheap costumes are less appealing. Appealing means something which is very attractive or interesting. Therefore, many women have both high end. So high end is something expensive and which is of high quality, and budget friendly. Budget friendly is like inexpensive thing. Items in their clothing. Luxury brands, examples of luxury brands, familiar with upper class, that is high class, and frequently upper in upscale events. Upscale is again something relatively expensive and designed, appealed so that they can be affluent to the customers and affordable as well. So you can see that how the vocabulary is put here, and you will be able to express your ideas, analyze your ideas, justify your opinion, and focus on the vocabulary so that you can target 7 and above. If your talk is general but you are not applying these kind of vocabulary in your ideas or your idiomatic language, then you will be always on a basic, or I would say average band level of 6 or 6.5. You will not be able to cross 7 and above. So you can start practicing on our baby code application. There are unlimited tests there. You know that you can buy a membership also, and you can practice daily there. You will be getting the band scores according to the 4 brand criterias, right? Watch out our live sessions on the YouTube as well on the baby code application. Do provide your star rating. Do provide your comments on the comment section. If you want me to cover any particular topic, you can drop the comments, drop your queries. I will be helping you out, and I'll be coming up with more live sessions, right? So thank you so much for watching our live session 4. Stay tuned for the live session 5. I'll be coming up with some more new strategies and what things you need to cover in your speaking part. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Take care, all of you.